Hey guys, we're going to go over the test review for our test tomorrow. Alright, so our first problem says solve the triangle, find all missing angles and sides. Alright, so that's what we want to do in all four of these. We want to find all missing angles and sides. Okay, so starting off with problem number one, on all four of these guys, I'm just going to tell you because I'm trying to save some time, we're going to assume these are not right triangles. Okay, if I end up proving wrong on one of them, then we'll adjust, but as of right now, I can pretty safely say none of these are right triangles. So that means we're always going to start off doing the sides and angles. I'm just going to write S and A because I kind of run out of space. Alright, so little a, little b, little c, and then we have big A, big B, big C. Big A, big B, big C. Okay? Little a is the side across from angle A, so that's 18. Little b is the side across from big B, so that's 26. And little c is the side across from big C, so that's 24. And we don't know any of the angles. Since we do not know any of the angles, we cannot use law of sines because we do not have a pair of opposites. Therefore, this is a law of cosine situation. So in your notes, you should have that cosine of angle A. We're going to start off finding angle A. You can start off with any one. But start off with cosine of angle A is equal to B squared plus C squared minus A squared divided by 2BC. Okay? And now honestly guys, this is just a plug and chug situation. Okay? So for the sake of time, because I know you don't want to watch a 35-minute review video, I'm just going to jump straight into chugging and plugging. So I open my parentheses to represent my numerator. B is 26, so 26 squared plus 24 squared minus 18 squared, all divided by, okay, 2 times B, which is 26, times C, which is 24. And this is cosine of angle A. So cosine of angle A is equal to this number right here. So I want to inverse that, so I hit second cosine, and then I just recall my answer. Plug that in, press enter, bam, and I get 41.96, which I'm just going to round up to 42. So my angle for A is 42. So then I'm going to repeat the same process, but for B. So you should be able to look in your notes and see the formula for cosine B is equal to A squared plus C squared minus B squared, all divided by 2AC. Okay, so once again, I'm going to jump straight in just plugging in. So A squared, which is 18, so 18 squared plus 24 squared minus 26 squared, all divided by 2 times A times C. And I get that that is 0.25, etc., etc. That's what cosine B equals. So I need to inverse that to actually get angle B. Remember, anytime you are finding an angle, you should end up inversing a trig ratio. Okay? And so I get 74.97, which I'm going to round up to 75. That was angle B, not angle C. My bad. So 75. Okay? Then I can find my third angle by just adding 42 plus 75 together, subtracting that number from 180. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be something like 63. And I get 63. Boom shakalaka. Alright, so I have solved for all the missing angles. Let's move on. Problem number 2. Problem number 2 says, same idea, find all missing sides and angles. I'm going to assume it's not a right triangle, so I start off with sides and angles. Alright, so little a, little b. I'm doing problem 2, I'm just writing it all the way over here so I have some space. Little c, big A, big B, big C. Alright, so little a, I don't know. Little b is 32. Alright, little c I don't know. Big A, oh, I can find that pretty easily by adding 45 and 79 together and subtracting the sum of that, the sum of those two, oops, from 180. So I press enter and I get 180. That's just going to be 56. I know that. I don't need a calculator to finish that for me. So I know that angle A is 56, angle B is 79, and angle C is 45. Okay, so then you should notice, aha, I have a pair of opposites. So I can use law of sines. What is this weird thing? Can I make it go away? Okay, I have a pair of opposites. So then I can say that little b over sine of angle B is equal to, and I can set up any other ratio. So let's just find little a first. Little a over sine of big A. And I can use this because the only variable after I plug stuff in is going to be little a. I know everything else. Alright, so I know that little b is 32. I know that big B is 79. Is equal to little a over sine of 56. So then, guys, I'm just going to cross multiply. So 32 times sine 56, a times sine 75. So I get 32 sine 56 is equal to a times sine of 79. Then I'm just going to simply divide both sides by the sine of 79. So let's go ahead and jump to my calculator, save us some time and some space. So 32, I'm going to put this. I heavily suggest in this case that you use alpha y equals enter. And always make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Press enter, and I get 27. And I'm just going to round down to 27. So little a is 27. Okay, and then I just repeat this whole process to find little c. Okay? So, little c, I'm going to repeat this entire process to find little c. Now that I know a and little a, big A and little a, I actually don't have to use b and b anymore, but since I already have it set up, I'm going to go ahead and continue using it. So little c over sine of angle c. And then 32 over sine 79 is equal to little c over sine 45. Okay. So then I'm going to cross multiply 32 times sine 45. 32 times sine 45, that's what it says, so I just wrote 32 times sine 45 is equal to c times sine of 79. So I'm going to divide both sides by sine of 79. So 32 sine 45, so I'm going to put that 32. Once again, I heavily suggest that you use your calculator's alpha y equals enter in this situation. Sine of 79, close it, and I get 23. And so I know that little c is 23. And there you go. I've solved for everything. All right, moving on to problem number 3. All right, there's a weird little hiccup here. Just ignore it. It means nothing. Okay? All right, so first off, I notice I have two angles, and I know, oh, hey, I can find the third real fast by doing 43 plus 85 and saying 180 minus 128, which is 52. So I know angle C is 52. Okay, so now I'm going to set up my sides and angles chart. That was way too long. All right, I know that little a, little b, little c, big A, big B, big C. All right, little a is unknown, little b is unknown, little c is 15. All right, angle A is 85. Angle B is 43. And angle C is 52. Okay, so I'm going to say C over sine C. That's the ratio I know. That's the pair of opposites. So I know this is going to be a law of sines. So C over sine C is equal to, pick a side you want to find, A. All right, A over sine A, capital A. All right. So then little c I know is 15, so I can say 15 divided by sine of 52 degrees is equal to little a over sine of 85. And then, guys, I'm back just right where I was. I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So I cross, I get 15 sine 85. It's 15. Sine 85 is equal to a sine of 52. Divide both sides by sine of 52 to get a. So I'm just going to type that into my calculator, make that final jump. So it's going to be 15 sine 85 divided by sine of 52. Yes. that's what's multiplying to a over here. So it's a times sine 52. So to get a by itself, I would divide both sides by sine 52. Press enter and I get 18.96. I'm just going to round that up to 19. So I know that little a is 19. So now I'm going to repeat the whole process just with b. Alright. So I already have all this set up. I'm not going to write it out. B over sine b is equal to little b over sine of 43. Alright. Whoops, I forgot to erase the 15 sine 85, because it should now be 15. When I cross multiply here, I'm going to get 15 sine 43 is equal to b times sine 52. Alright, then I divide both sides by sine 52. So that's going to give me, well, let's see here. I just had this almost exact same things. I just changed the 85 to a 43. And I get 13 after rounding up. So there we go. A is 19, B is 13, C is 15. Alright, moving on to problem 4. Problem 4, we assume that it's not a right triangle. I cannot find any of the other angles right off the bat. So instead, I'm going to set up my trig chart. I mean, not my trig chart, sorry. My T-chart with sides and angles. Alright, so I can say little a, little b, little c, capital A, capital B, capital C. Okay, so little a is, let's see here, unknown. Little b is 24. Little c is 30. Big A is 130. Okay, as you're seeing this, I have no pair of opposites, so therefore it's straight to a law of cosines. So you may be thinking, let's find an angle first, because then I can find the other angle really easily. Here's the problem. To find an angle, you must know all three sides using law of cosines. I can't use law of sines at all because I don't have a pair of opposites. So in order to law of cosines to find an angle, you must know all three sides. Do I know all three sides? No. So first thing you have to do is think, can I use law of cosines to find little a? Well, do you know the angle opposite little a? Do you know big A? Yes. Do you know the other two sides? Yes. So you can use law of cosines. You can say little a squared is equal to little b squared plus little c squared minus 2bc cosine of big A. So then this is truthfully just a plug-in. I'm not even going to write it all out because it's kind of hard for me to write with my cursor. Alright, so b is 24, so I'm going to say 24 squared plus 30 squared minus 2 times 24 times 30 times cosine of 130. Now that is what a squared equals, so I need to square root that number to finish getting a. And I get 49. So little a is 49. So now I'm going to use the fact that I know all three sides. And now, guys, you have a pair of opposites. So if you prefer law of sines, you could use law of sines to find for this missing angle. I like law of cosines, so I'm going to use law of cosines. Okay? So to find angle B by using law of cosines, you say cosine of angle B is equal to 49 squared plus 30 squared minus 24 squared, all divided by 2 times 49 times 30. Okay? So this is now just a plug and chug. 49 squared plus 30 squared minus 24 squared, all divided by 2 times 49 times 30. And I get that cosine of A is B, sorry, cosine of B is equal to this. So then I inverse cosine it. And I get 22.05. So 22.05. So then I can find the third angle by simply adding the two angles I know together. And subtracting them from 180. So I can just simply say 180 minus second answer. Bam, 27.95. So my third angle is 27.95. All right, let's move on. Number 5. Number 5, it says in triangle EFG, E is 12, F is 44, G is 40. Find the measurement of angle E. Okay, so we have some triangle E, and remember, it doesn't really matter where you place your F, E, F, and G as long as you stay consistent throughout the rest of the problem. E is 12, F is 44, G is 40. All right, sides and angles, because there's no way of knowing this is the right triangle or not. Little E, I know we usually say A, B, C, but they've given us E, F, and G this time, but not a problem. Not a problem, it means the same things. E, F, G. All right, little e is 12, little f is 44, little g is 40. Okay, so if you're struggling to choose which formula, well, it says find the measurement of angle E. We don't have any pairs, so we have to use law of cosines. So look at where E would be. It would just be in the same place as A, right? So just approach this as ABC, and use cosine of angle A to help you out. All right, so cosine, but it's really angle E, is equal to, so in this case, remember it was B squared plus C squared, so it's going to be F squared plus G squared. So F squared plus G squared, and then it's usually minus A squared if you're finding cosine of A, so in this time it's going to be E squared, all divided by 2FG rather than 2BC. Okay, so we're just going to plug and chug away. So F we know was 44, so 44 squared plus, and then G we know was 40 squared, or it's 40, so I'd say 40 squared, minus 12 squared, all divided by 2 times 44 times 40. And then I need inverse cosine that because I'm solving an angle, and I use the law of cosines. And I get 15.5. So the measurement of angle E is just simply 15.5. And there we go. Okay, next problem, problem number 6. It says in triangle PQR, measurement of angle P is 100, angle Q is 30, P is 50. So we have a triangle here. All right, P, Q, that's capital P, Q, R. Measurement of angle P is 100. Measurement of Q is 30. Measurement of little p is 50. All right, so we set up our trig chart. I mean, not our trig chart, I keep saying that because I'm tired. Our T chart, sides and angles. Little a, little b, little c. Big A, big B, big C. Okay. Well, it's not A's and B's anymore, is it? P, P, Q, R, P, Q, R, big P, big Q, big R. Man, this is ugly. This is not professional at all. All right, so little p is 50. Little big P is 100. Big Q is 30. And wants me to find little q. Oh, nice. So I have a pair of opposites, and I need to find little q. And I can do that because I know the angle. So I can say 50 over sine of 100 is equal to little q over sine of 30. So then I'm going to cross multiply 50 sine 30 is equal to q sine of 100. I'm going to need to divide both sides by sine of 100 to get q by itself. So I'm just going to type that into the calculator. 50 sine 30. And I know I'm going to divide it by sine of 100, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Divided by sine of 100. And I get that little q is 25.4. So I get that little q is 25.4. All right, awesome. Let's move on. Next problem, problem number 7. Don't worry about the 7.5. To estimate the length of the lake, Caleb starts at one of the lake and walks 95 meters. He then turns, walks on a new path, which is 120 degrees. So the first path to the first he was walking in, and walks 87 more when he arrives at the other end of the lake. So he walked 95, he turned 120 degrees, and he walked 87. So 95, 120, 87. Wants to know how long the lake is. A, B, C. Alright. We do not know if this is the right triangle, so we're going to set up our T-chart, sides and angles. Little A, little B, should give myself more space, little C. We know that little A is 87. We know that little b is 95. We know nothing about little c. But we do know angle C is 120. Big C, big A, big B. Okay. So at this point in time, you might be thinking, I do not have a pair of opposites, so it is most definitely law of cosines. So we want to find little c. So I can say little c squared is equal to little a squared plus little b squared minus 2ab cosine of angle C. So this is a plug and chug kind of situation. So we know that we need to do a squared plus b squared. So a squared, which was 87, plus 95 squared, minus 2 times 87 times 95 times cosine of angle C, which is 120. Press enter, and we get that big number. But that's what C squared equals. So I need to square root that number, and I get 157.7. So the lake is approximately 157. So little c is approximately 157.7. Alright, that's 157.7. Sorry, my handwriting is terrible. Alright, problem 8. Tom, Dave, and Jim are camping in their tents. The distance between Tom and Dave is 102. The distance between Tom and Jim is 212. The distance between David and Jim is 230. What is the measure of angle that is formed at Jim? Alright, so we got 3 guys camping in their 3 tents. So we got 3 guys. 1, 2, 3. Tom, David, and Jim. Tells me that Tom to David is 102. Tells me that Tom to Jim is 212. And it tells me that David to Jim is 230. So you set up your sides and angles. This is for problem 8. I'm just kind of short on space, so I wrote up here. So little a, oh, not little a though in this case, sorry. Little t, little d, little j. And then I don't know any of the angles, so I'm not even going to hassle with writing it because I'm trying to keep this video short. It's 230. Little d is 212. Little j is 102. And it wants to find little j. That's the angle it wants to find. So I can say cosine of angle j is equal to, now just think about it being c. You know, c would be a squared plus b squared. So t squared plus d squared. And then it'd be minus c squared, right? So in this case, it's going to be minus j squared. All divided by 2 times d times d. Alright, now we're just going to plug in the calculator, let it do all the hard lifting for me. So I'm going to say parentheses to represent my numerator, 230. I believe that's the correct number. Yes. 230 squared plus d is 212. Whoops. 212 feet squared minus 102 feet squared divided by 2 times t, which is 230, times d, which is 212. Close it, press enter. And that's what cosine of j equals, and I want to find j for Jim. I actually want to find big J, so I have to inverse that number. Cosine inverse that number, and I get 26.3 degrees. So angle J is equal to approximately 26.3 degrees. Alright guys, I tried to wrap this video up quick. Please let me know what questions you have. Please study. Feel free to shoot me an email or remind or just come by early in the morning for tutoring. Thanks guys. Have a great day.